So what we want to do is we really want to calculate a limit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the limit as x approaches 1/2 from the negative side. And whenever we're working with the limits, we don't care what the function value actually is, which is 7/2. We care where it looks like it's going, and that's going to be given by this rational function here. So if I write in my rational function, this is going to be 6u squared plus u minus 2 all over 2u minus 1. When we plug in 1/2 into the numerator and the denominator, we get 0/0. So this gives us important information. This tells us this is not an infinite limit, right? Or probably not an infinite limit. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor this guy. And when we factor it, what are we going to get? We're going to get the limit as x approaches -infinity. Here's the thing. If you know that you got a 0 when you plugged in a -1/2, that means both the top and the bottom are going to have a 2u minus 1 factor. I call this a 0 factor. The reason why this must be a 0 factor is because we know that -1/2 is a 0 or a root of the numerator. So anytime that's a root, that means when you plug it into a linear term, that's going to go to 0. So you could have written this as like u plus 1/2, but it's more natural to write it like this. And then we just have to figure out what the other factor is going to be. So I know when I take 2u and whatever is in front over here, I should get a 6u squared. So that pretty much forces the first term here to be 3u. I know that when I take this guy and the last guy multiplied together, I should get a -2. So that forces this to be +2 like this. And then you should always maybe check by multiplying it out. So first is the 6u, the outside is going to be 4u, the inside is going to be -3u, 4u minus 3u is just u, and then the last is going to be -2. So I think we factored it correctly. Then because we have the same 0 factor in the numerator and the denominator, we can cancel these guys out. And I can insert a -1/2 in for u. So when I do that, I'm going to get 3 times -1/2 plus 2. What does that going to be equal to?
Isn't it +1/2 coming from the left?
You are correct. Thank you very much. For sure, you are correct. Okay. So this is going to be 3/2 plus 4/2. 3/2 plus 4/2 is 7/2. So this is 7/2. And this also happens to be equal to what my f of 1/2 is. Okay. So we get the same. That's the same. We get the same as x approaches 1/2 from the positive side. So therefore, this is continuous because the limit is equal to the function value. Does that make sense to everybody?